Hi folks. You may be aware that South Africa has launched a genocide case against Israel. In its application to the UN's International Court of Justice, South Africa warned that Palestinians in Gaza were facing starvation and asked the court to order that all parties cease hostilities and release all hostages and detainees. Of the many countries and groups who support South Africa's case in the so-called World Court is the Arab League, which includes Egypt, a country that could open its border to Palestinians in Gaza, but chooses not to. Back to South Africa, which I've been to and enjoyed many times before. But it really does need to look in the mirror here and focus on its own problems first. Because you don't have to dig very far to find hypocrisy at its very best here. Its President, Cyril Ramaphosa, has no runs on the board when it comes to human rights and social justice, aligning himself with Hamas and some of the world's most feared dictators from China to Russia and Iran. A quick glance of the Human Rights Watch website points to a myriad of problems right across the country, including poor governance and unethical business practices. Members of the South African police services continue to violate rights with little to no accountability. There is a disturbingly high number of gender-based violence cases in the country. Last year, it couldn't even keep the lights on and violated constitutional rights when it came to load shedding. Between 2021 and 2022, 400 to 500,000 children dropped out of school in South Africa, bringing the total number of out-of-school children to 750,000. That's according to UNICEF. Then we come to corruption. Corruption has strangled South Africa and its ruling party, the ANC. According to global corruption watchdog Transparency International, South Africa's Corruption Perception Index dropped to its lowest level in 12 years, below the global average. That means things are viewed as worse now than under the leadership of the crooked Jacob Zuma. How far it's fallen since the highs of Nelson Mandela. And when you look at South Africa's relationship with Iran, this push to the International Court of Justice becomes even more sus. Of course, Iran recently congratulated South Africa on a, quote, successful case against Israel at the ICJ, which triggered questions about whether or not Iran was actually funding the court case. South Africa's foreign minister denied that was the case. The same foreign minister who decried Israel's retaliatory strikes on November 7, but made no mention of Hamas's terror attacks, which started this war the month before. She also threatened to arrest her country's own citizens, who fought with the Israeli armed forces when they returned home. None of this would be surprising to followers of South African history and politics. The ANC supported the Palestinian people long before this war, coupling Israel's treatment of Palestinians with non-white South Africans during apartheid. A few years ago, South Africa signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Hamas, which sought to introduce practical steps in mobilising the international community to pressure Israel to end its occupation of Palestine, including working towards the full boycott of all Israeli products. But when South Africa accuses Israel of genocide, it might want to look at Hamas's own charter, which actually calls for the destruction of Israel. That's something Israel has never claimed to do to its neighbour. So yeah, in the words of John McEnroe, South Africa can't be serious. Thanks for watching. To support this channel, please like, share and subscribe below. See you next week.